Recording?
Rolling,
All right.
rolling.
Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahawah,
Hasham, Yahawashi.
double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, the elders that taught us this truth, and also the men that are furthering this ministry as well, as we're going to continue to do. And we're going to talk about a subject matter, which is about a people which are the descendants of the biblical Edomites today. And what's happening is they're being made bare in this day and age. You know, because you had this situation with Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon just said a couple of things, and I mean, you know, he kind of went in, especially when he had that interview with Professor Griff, which I think Professor Griff, he's what you call a 5%er. So he was kind of going in terms of, you know, speaking about the Edomites on how they were filthy animals and stuff like that, you know, and they eventually fired him. You know what I'm saying? But whether they fired him or not, the truth is still getting out there, because people are going to now realize, why did he get fired again? And they're going to look into things as to what he was saying. You know, so as the scripture says, you can do nothing against the truth or for the truth. You know, and that's just the thing about the truth. The truth is always consistent. You don't have to package it. You don't have to refabricate it. It's just this. You know, it's a part of life. So let's read this.
This is Jeremiah 49 and 10. I have made Esau bare, and I have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself.
Yeah.
His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not.
Yeah.
Leave thy fatherless, children will I preserve them alive, and let thy widows trust in me.
Yeah, so let's get back to the main point. The point is that they've been made bare, and that they can neither hide anymore, because their power was in being being encrypted. Use that term. And now the average person knows about the Rockefellers. The average person knows about the Rothschilds and the Lights. And you know, the world is beginning to see, you know, the inner filth that these people are brought about on the planet. And there's nothing, like it says in the book of Luke, the 12th chapter, there's nothing covered that shall be revealed. And we're in that time where Esau's being revealed, big time, heavy, you know. And it's about that time, because when before the Lord brings an end to this place, because we know that everything is orchestrated by the Heavenly Father, based on His word prophecy. So the prophecy of Esau being made bare, that has to come into play too. And then once he's been made bare, exposed, then the Lord is going to take him out, or the Lord is going to use men that's in powerful positions to do that job. Because as time goes on, this society is getting worse and worse and worse. You know, and even the morals of the people are getting worse and worse and worse. So yeah, things have changed, but things have been changed for the better. It's changed for the worse. You know? Go on, brother.
I continue.
No. Go back to what is it? Yeah.
But I have made, this is Jeremiah 49 and 10, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places.
Yeah.
He shall not be able to hide himself.
And who is Esau and Edom? When you go read the book of Genesis chapter 25, you can't help, if you got common sense, if you use your common sense, you can't help but know and understand that that's talking about so-called white people. They're the descendants of Esau and Edom. You know, it fits them. Every person, every nation has their biblical nationality. We have a biblical nationality as well. And we're the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this prophecy spoken of about the Edomites, this prophecy spoken about the descendants of Jacob, and all of these other nations too, as to what they're going to fulfill in these last days. You see? And it's all happening. It's like people like to say, well, the Bible, you know, it's bollocks, it doesn't matter, it's just shit, right? But the words of this book is coming out of the book and playing out in our reality every single day. You know, and the reason why we can pinpoint that is, first and foremost, we're the prophets set up by the Heavenly Father to know the prophecies are taking place. Like the average person, you know, they going about their day-to-day living, doing as they may, and not really seeing the signs. But we're stood up to see the signs and report these things to awaken our people, the descendants of Jacob, the so-called black people, so-called Latinos, and Native American Indians, who are indeed the biblical children of Israel. Okay, go on. Let's read that.
And he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled.
Yeah, his seed is spoiled. And that's really talking about the powers that be of these Edomites. Because like I said, their power was being encrypted, being hidden, being in secret. Now everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about the banking elite and the agendas that be. of what they want to fulfill in these last days. That's all been, it's been declared. You know, you've had other Edomites come on YouTube and exposing them. As it does, it takes an Edomite to expose another Edomite. You know? And that's why Jake ain't really on things like that. Because really, when you really check it out, this is their kingdom. So they're going to know more about their kingdom than any other people. You know? Come on, brother, do that.
You see this world and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not.
Yeah, and they're going to be spoiled because they spoiled the children of Israel. They spoiled us, the Israelites. Now they're going to be spoiled. And this is what we're transitioning to. Right now, they're just feeling the glimpse of the curses. But it's going to come upon the time that all of those curses are going to pretty much come upon them. That cloud of the curses is going to come upon them like how it came upon us. You see? Get me, hold what you got, brother. Get me the book of Lamentations, the 4th chapter. I would discover thy sins, O daughter of Edom. And the reason why everybody's talking against these Edomites, because really, let's be real, you know, we started that trend. The Israelites started the trend of talking about this stuff and what's going on around the world. Now people are more influenced, which that's okay, because this truth has to be expressed. This truth has to come out. Which the truth was always there, but the people can't help themselves but bring about the truth of things. You know, mainly the tribes, of course, because the tribes have had enough of this nonsense. Go on, brother, be down.
This is Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz.
Yeah.
The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked.
What does that cup consist of? That cup consists of the curses. The same curses that we had to endure, spoken of by Moses. Moses told us, 3,000 plus years ago, and he said, look, if you don't keep the commandments of the Most High, this is what's going to befall you. If you do keep the commandments of the Most High, this is what's going to happen to you. The blessing is going to come. So it was all prophesied. So now what's going to happen is they're going to drink that cup. You see? The curses they're going to drink up. After we get done reading this, let's get Deuteronomy 30:7. Let's read that.
Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished.
Yeah.
O daughter of Zion.
Okay.
He will no more carry thee away into captivity.
In other words, this is our last captivity, because when you read about our history of the Israelites, we went into captivity under all of these different nations throughout a course of time. And the reason being because we started to draw back from the righteousness and the commandments thereof of the Heavenly Father. That's why the Lord sent these nations towards us. But now that that's all said and done, there's going to be a new thing that's going to happen. Let's read that.
He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of
He will
Edom.
visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom, the so-called Europeans. They're the biblical Edomites. Now their sins are going to be discovered. And then ultimately they're going to have to live out that judgment as to what they have done. You see, just like how we did. Go on, brother.
O daughter of Edom, he will discover thy sins.
Yeah, O daughter of Edom, he will discover thy sins. And the sins are being discovered right now because we're talking about it. Other people are talking about it. So we're in the time of their sins being exposed in front of the world, for the world to see. You know, people are using YouTube and other websites to expose exactly what's going on with these top elites, especially them. Go on, brother.
Finish with that.
All right.
Deuteronomy.
Yeah, go back to Deuteronomy 30:7.
This is Deuteronomy 30:7. And the Lord Yahawah, Yahawashi, thy power, will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee.
Right. So the Lord is going to transfer those curses that we had to do on our enemies. And the main enemy at large of Jacob is the descendants of Edom, as we have right before you, right here. Other one. This is the Hebrew way of saying Edom, other one, or other one, yeah, you could say, which are indeed, as they call themselves, white people. You know, they're the descendants of the Edomites that you read in the scriptures. Go on, brother, read that.
And I will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee.
So they're kind of getting a glimpse of that now, even while they're ruling in their own kingdom. They're getting a glimpse of that now. But when the kingdom is set up, they're going to feel the full force of the curses. And the main curse that is going to take place is that they're going to go into captivity. Because of, what is it? Let's get the book of Revelations 13, 9 and 10.
Finish with that. I don't need to go back to it.
then also get Isaiah 14, verse, start with verse 4. But you know that you can read the first verse. Goes into it anyway.
Revelations. What do you want first, Isaiah?
No, get Revelation.
Revelations 13.
9 and 10.
Revelations 13, 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
And that's why they're going to experience that sort of curse. It's going into captivity because they led the lost people into captivity. You see, so as people like to say, well, that's the past. We got to forget about what happened 400 or 500 years ago. But no, the Lord hasn't forgotten about that. You see what I'm saying? Because the Lord didn't forget about what we did wrong, which is why we're suffering today. So how much more the Edomites, the people that are considered the vessels fitted to wrath, how much more of them? The dishonorable vessel, according to the book of Romans 9 chapter. So they're going to get it the worst. And they destroy the planet too on top of it, man. Change doctrines and everything. To get the people under the influence of perversion. So they really going to feel the full force of the curses, man, that the Heavenly Father's going to place upon them. Go on, bro.
Isaiah 14. For the Lord Yahawah Yahawashi will have mercy on Jacob.
Who's Jacob? Jacob is the descendants of the children of Israel. We are the descendants of the children of Israel. All right, Jacob. Go on.
And will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land.
Right. And you know, too, people are kind of aware of that too, on how we're the Israelites, and people are not really, accepting of the people in Israel today as being the Jews. That's being exposed. All of that is being exposed. That they're not the people. And the proof of that, because I can't just say that and not substantiate, because prophecy doesn't back them being the people of the Most High. Because in the last days, the real Jews would be in captivity. They would be at the bottom. They'll be scorned at, scoffed at, laughed at. And the main thing they would the curses, or the curse that they would experience is going into slavery on slave ships. So if you're a Jew, you would have to come under those curses. Okay? But they're not cursed. They run everything. They run the diamond district and everything. They run the media, and they're billionaires. Some of them are trillionaires, if you could believe that. So how are they going through the curses in this Bible? It's impossible. Okay? And according to the book of Jeremiah 14 and 2, the Jews are people of color. It says they are black onto the ground. If you look at the ground has different variations of brown. If you look at us as a people, we're different shades of brown. And this is why we gotta stray away from the term black, because ain't nobody black, man. Go on, brother, let's read that.
And will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land.
And he will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And that's another clue, that the real Jews will be out of their land. So if you're gonna call yourself a Jew, you have to. That means that you have to be mindful of if you're fitting to these prophecies, because they're in the land right now. But the scripture says that they would be outside of their land, so that eventually they can get back their land. Let's read this again.
For the Lord Yahawah Yahawashi will have mercy on Jacob and yet choose Israel.
Okay.
And set them in their own land.
And set them in their own land. So why would the Lord say set them in their own land when they're already in their own land, if they're saying that they're the Jews, right? It doesn't follow up. It makes no sense. And this is why when you talk about them, they shut your challenge down, because they don't want people to discover the truth as to who they really are. That's what it is. They want to stay hidden. They don't want to be the ones known. They don't want to be known as the ones that are actually ruling things or having power over something. They want to be, hidden. So when you talk about them, the more people talk about it, the more people will discover things about them. Because you got certain people that are good with information and they bring information to the forefront.
Yeah.
And then other people would then begin to research what's up with that information.
Yeah.
You see, and that's why they don't want you to talk about them. Go on, brother. But we know why they don't want us to talk about them. Go on, bro.
And set them in their own land, and the stranger shall be drained with them.
Yeah.
And he shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
All right.
And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. and the house of Israel shall possess them.
Yeah.
In the land of the Lord Yahawah Yahawashi,
Okay.
for servants and handmaids.
All right, go on.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
So that falls right in line with Revelations 13, 9 and 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So what's going to happen is the people that were enslaved, they're going to enslave the same people that enslaved them. So that's what you call recompense, according to the scriptures. That's what you call justice. You got these individuals under the guise of Black Lives Matter looking for justice and all this nonsense, but the justice is already in the scriptures. The justice that they want is already written in the scriptures. Okay? Because really, when you really understand something, when you get into these scriptures, the Most High is going to do more than justice unto his people. He said he's going to heal them, he's going to give them servants and handmaids and all of that.
All right.
And access to these gemstones, and we're going to be able to build with these gemstones our palaces and everything. So that's more than enough right there. We don't need to be protesting about this and that and the third. We don't need to be doing all of that stuff because it's a waste of time. Like I've said earlier before, if you were to do any research going all the way back to the 60s or the 50s, right? What real changes come of protesting? Not one. None. Exactly. So, and the proof of that is that people are protesting of the same thing they were protesting years ago. So that means it hasn't changed anything. But see, the real change is going to come through Yahawah Hasham Yahawashi. That's where the change is going to come. That's what we got to rely on, man. It's all about the word and the influences of the Holy Spirit. Okay, once that takes over you, then that spirit will lead onto your salvation, and then the world will change after that. Because the New Jerusalem's going to come down. Let's get Revelations the 14th chapter, brother. We saw New Jerusalem coming. In Revelations 21. Because you want to talk about change. The Lord is going to bring the change. You're going to know when things, you're going to know the change when you see the change. When the Most High changes things, man. Sends his son down here to reestablish righteousness again and, pretty much cleanse the earth of all of this wickedness and nastiness, man. As it says in the book of Isaiah 60, I believe it's 66, how the Lord said he would create a new heavens and a new earth. Let's get that.
Revelations 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth.
Yeah.
For the first heaven and first earth were passed away.
Meaning this civilization is going to pass away. So once the civilization has passed away, then we're going to have room for the next civilization to come in. And that's the kingdom of heaven. So when this world comes to an end, what I mean by the word, I'm not talking about the planet, because the planet will always be here. Okay? But you have different civilizations that came in and endured for a while and came out, and another kingdom came after. So when this world is done for, which is the second leg of the Roman Empire, then we're going to enter into the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be spearheaded by us. We're going to be the new ones in supremacy. Okay, go on, brother. Let's read that.
And there was no more sea, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned.
And these are visions and prophecies that are going to come to pass. Because the way the Lord dealt with the prophets is he gave them visions of things to come next. Now, sometimes the prophecies would come probably like 200 years in advance, 500 years, or a couple of thousand years it would come. But eventually the prophecy came. Like when you read about Noah, what was Noah prophesying about? He was prophesying about a flood coming. Because during the time there was no rain. So people looked at him like he was off his head.
What?
Like he was retarded or something. You know what I'm saying? They thought he was what you call those people, man. I just use the term crazy. They thought he was crazy to say that a flood was going to come. But he prophesied about that 120 years. And after that period of time of him teaching came in effect, the flood came. Eventually the flood came. Go on, brother. Yeah.
Because that was the first time there was a flood.
Yeah.
Prior to that, there was never a flood upon earth. So people may be asking, so how was the water, how was the earth actually watered, the flowers? By the dew of heaven.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, because that's all you had during the time you had to do. That kept the earth in its reasonable state. Because you've always had trees and stuff like that. You've always had different plants. But that was a deed to keep all of these things in a state of correction, correct things. Go on, bro.
And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, come down from the Most High.
And
out
it
of
wasn't just
heaven.
an actual city that came down. It wasn't an actual city. It's a metaphor for the people. There was a people that got delivered, okay, from the destruction, and they came back down to set what? The kingdom of heaven up. Go on, brother. That's what that's going into.
Coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
Yeah.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men.
And what is that tabernacle? That tabernacle is the house of David, which we are the house of David coming back. It all begins with the prophets rising before time and speaking this word and bringing forth and also awakening the elect up to be bidden to the marriage to the Lamb. So once all of that takes place and you have the elect, that's the house of David right there. So it's gradually building up. We're at a point where the elect are damn near sealed. Some brothers believe that the elect are already sealed, but I believe that the elect is just about being sealed. And this is why the Lord this is why we haven't been seeing any missiles drop down in any city yet, because the elect got to be sealed. You see? And the proof of that, let's get Revelations, the 7th chapter, because there will be missiles hitting this place. It's going to be a third world nuclear war.
Can I bring out a precept?
Yeah, go on.
To the one that you just read there. So, okay.
I tell you what, brother.
Yeah, read it.
Revelation 7. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth,
Yeah.
holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth,
Yeah.
nor the sea, nor on
So
any
what
tree.
wind is this talking about? Because the wind is blowing right now. We're feeling a little wind as I'm speaking, as we're all speaking, and we're reading at the same time. So what wind is this talking about? This is talking about the nuclear wind that's going to hit ground zero and kapoosh the whole place. You see? So the angels are commanded to hold back those winds, the destroying winds that is. Go on, brother, read that.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power.
Yeah.
And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
Yeah. Whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So it was given, the angels are responsible for the mass destruction that's coming down the pipe. So the angels are commanded to hold back until what? The elect is going to go into it. Go on, let's read it.
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power.
Until we have sealed the servants of our power. That's why anything hasn't happened yet. That's why you don't see a nuclear war taking place and other prophecies taking place, and the chip hasn't been mandated yet, because the elect has to be sealed. Once the elect is sealed, then this place is done. Then the chip is going to come in, and then basically you're going to see those missiles flying from one part of the earth to the other part of the earth and hitting places where it's aimed to hit. And these people are going to be put to death. You see? Go on, brother.
Till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
Yes. Until we have sealed the servants of their power in their foreheads. How are they going to get that seal in their forehead? By knowing the name of the Lord. And a part of knowing the name of the Lord, you have to understand the truth, which makes up the truth. The name. The name is an important thing to have for your salvation. Get me hold what you got. Give me the book of Acts, the 4th chapter, verse 12. Is there any salvation in any other name under heaven?
All right.
Because you got guys in Israel, such as IUIC, they still downplaying the name of the Lord. You can't downplay the name of the Lord. How you going to downplay something that's going to save you? Come on, man. Like, the Lord ain't going to hear you saying Most High Christ and bless. No, you saying that. you really pushing the Most High to laserize your eyes, man. Go on, bro.
Acts 4 and 12. Neither is there salvation in any other.
Yeah.
For there is none other name under heaven.
Yep. For there's no other name under heaven. Go on.
Given among men whereby we must be saved.
Given by men that we must be saved. So that's what's going to be sealed in the heads of the elect.
Right.
Go back to Revelation, the 7th chapter.
Revelation 7 and 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
Right. To seal, what is it? The servants with the power of their foreheads. And on top of that, knowing the name and also having this truth. Because when you have this truth, that's also part of the, what is it? The seal of the power. And then the name added on top of that. So you got everything. Go on, brother. Read what you got.
Malachi 4:2 says, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stool.
Yep.
And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet.
Under the soles of your feet. In other words, we're going to have these other people under us. But let's still with the healing in his wings. That talks about, that's basically meaning salvation. So once we have the name of the Lord and we magnify his name and we preach in the name of the Lord, then we're going to, what is it? Our salvation.
Right.
So when guys are downplaying the name and talking about this and talking about that, or how you could call the Lord's name and you could call him any name, man, you, like I said, man, you're really provoking the Most High to destroy you when you're doing that. That's a dangerous game to play when you're playing around with the name of the Lord. You can't play around with the name of the Lord, man. Come on, bro.
Verse 4, and I heard the number of them which were sealed. There were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes.
Of all of the tribes, 12,000 out of each tribe were sealed with the name and the truth. So again, I say, this is why we haven't seen any kind of destruction that's really destroyed this place as of yet, because the elect is going to be sealed. And like I said, my belief is the elect are very much damn near have been sealed already. Because you got a lot of brothers that know the Israelites, but they don't know the full, they don't know the fullness of the truth. They just know, you know, there and there about the truth. But once the elect, the genuine men of the Lord are sealed, then this place is basically kaput. Okay, you can stick a fork in it, it's done. You know, go on, brother.
Of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000.
Yeah, it goes into the tribes. Go on, bro.
Up to, you want to carry on?
Yeah, we don't have to.
Forget that.
Yeah, so go back to
I've got Isaiah 65 and 17.
yeah, get that.
Isaiah 65 and 17. For behold, I will create a new heavens and a new earth.
Yep.
And the former shall not be remembered.
And the former shall not be remembered. So, like I said, you want to talk about change, you're going to know change when the Most High does what he has to do. In saving his elect and bringing them back down here on earth to set the earth in order. All right? And us being in a powerful position. That's the change that Israel's going to recognize as a whole. Not protesting and doing all of this nonsense and, you know, hooting and hollering, begging Esau for change and all that they're doing. That's not, man, that ain't doing nothing, bro. That's not doing anything. The Martin Luther King protest proved something, that there was no change out of that. And Martin Luther King, as we call him, he was pretty much a front man to bring Jake into this, bring Jake under the same system that the Edomites were under. Because when you have all nations together under one government setting, the government can then rule the people more effectively. Being that if you got one set of people here and another set of people there, you can rule the people more effectively. So you can rule them if you integrate them as one. You can concentrate on them more better. You see, go on, brother.
And the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind.
Meaning the past, such as what we're living in right now, it's not going to come into our mind. We're not going to remember all of this. All of the negative things that happened to us as a nation on this side of the spectrum is going to be fully forgotten about. And it's going to be like nothing ever happened. You understand? Because the Most High is going to take all of that negative stuff that you've experienced and it's going to be gone. Now, the scriptures does say you're going to remember certain things,
right.
But most of all of that negative stuff that we've experienced as a people is going to be gone. Go on, bro.
But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create.
Yep.
For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy.
Right.
I will rejoice in Jerusalem and rejoice in my people.
Yeah, and this is something that the Most High is preparing to do. So this is why we don't need to protest. We don't need to do anything other than teach the scriptures. Because the Lord is in the Lord's will to set up the kingdom. I believe that's in the New Testament. So you already know if this is the Lord's will to do something, it's going to be done regardless. And it's happening as I speak. You understand? You got men that have this truth. And as the scripture says, the kingdom of heaven is not of observation. So that means that if you have this truth, we're the exemplifiers of the kingdom. The kingdom is within us already. The kingdom is already here. That's what I meant to say. The kingdom is already here. You see? But we just haven't seen it manifest yet. First, it has to come within you so it can be made manifest in the physical realm. Go on, brother.
And I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people.
So the Lord is going to have, the Most High is going to rejoice in his people. He's going to love his people. And you're going to feel the love, the energy of love that's coming from the Most High. And that's going to be a beautiful thing. And then the earth is going to experience that same love. And that's why the earth is going to go back to its fullness, its full strength. Because in order for you to, like for example, this is why you have the female. The female, she nurtures the child. And one of the things that the mother's supposed to do with the child is nurture the child with love, so that the child can grow and become more of a stronger child. And that's the kind of energy that brings forth growth. It's the spirit of love. So the earth is going to be under that vibration, and the Most High is going to bring that vibration on the earth. And more so because we're going to keep the commandments, the statutes and commandments that is, which is love. Go on, bro.
And the voice of weeping shall no more be heard in her.
Yeah.
Nor the voice of crying.
And the reason why, because we're going to be changed. These bodies, these dilapidated bodies that we're in right now, is going to be changed. This is why it also says in the book of Revelations. Hold what you got, brother. Get Revelations 22, where it says the same thing. I believe it's Revelations 22. Stop with verse 1.
And he showed me a pure river of water of life.
Yeah, this is it right here. I believe it is.
Clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb.
Yeah.
And in the midst of the street of it, and on the either side of the river. Is this what you want? Is this what you wanted?
It basically says the same thing.
Verse 3, I'll go to verse 3. And there shall be no more curse.
That's the one right there, yeah.
But the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb shall be in it.
Yeah, so there's not going to be no more curse for one. And number two, we're not going to have these bodies anymore. Because these bodies bring about what? Pain. And these bodies, what is it?
Decay.
Yeah, these bodies decay. These bodies are dilapidated. And this is why some of us can't walk properly, some of us can't stand upright. In some cases, you wake up out of bed and your shoulders is hurting you, your back is hurting you in some cases, because these bodies are weak. You can walk somewhere and it's dust, and the dust is beating your ass. You know what I'm saying? You get your ass whipped by the dust. And little things such as dust can get at you, man. So that shows you how weak we are. We're not as strong as we think we are.
Right.
And that's why we need to be healed and changed. Go on, brother, be that.
And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of the Most High and of the Lamb shall be in it.
Yeah, for the throne of the Most High and the Lamb shall be upon it. So the kingdom of heaven is going to be spearheaded by the one and only that died on the cross.